I want to explore the cost because there was, at least according to the report, the Department of Planning and Budget, there were 10 of these procedures performed. So I guess that's the answer to my first question: is how many do we have? Do you know approximately how many go on immediately? And if we were to pass this,
it's a very small number of abortions that this would affect, and I would like to say that from what I can gather, this legislation would not affect any of the women who testified here today. The recent information is that in 2011, 10 abortions that would be covered under this were performed for a total cost of $2,784.
follow-up question. And that's part of my problem with the scoring here, because it contemplates the savings, but it doesn't contemplate if you don't have the procedure, then what happens to once the baby's carried to full term, it's born. What are the types of ailments? We heard testimony about multiple open heart surgeries. I imagine there's other types of things that are going to go on and will be very costly. Not all of these babies are born and die immediately.
Yeah.
This is going to be a significant cost to the Commonwealth to care for these babies. So, has anyone contemplated what that would be to the Commonwealth?
Well, Mr. Chairman, I just respond that what's currently happening now is that people who believe that this procedure is wrong, morally wrong, are being forced to pay for it. And that's what we're talking about with this legislation. It would not ban any abortion. It simply says who's going to pay for it. Should the taxpayers who may believe that these procedures are morally wrong be forced to pay for it?
And to further answer, he had asked about anticipated. I can only say that the body which we charge with looking at the fiscal implications did not send any information to that effect down to the members, so I can't answer it directly.
I know, but Mr. Chairman, I think it's obvious that if these babies are born, they will cost. So, don't we need to send this to appropriations? This has to cost money.
I have no letter from appropriations on this measure. If you care to make that motion, then you can consider it. But
do you agree that if these babies are born, that it would cost?
I don't have all the details on that. I do know that under the current federal statute, issues after the birth are part of Medicaid reimbursement, and I don't know the answer, but I understand. Delegate England.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to clarify a point that the patron said a moment ago. His understanding is that the women who provided easily the most powerful testimony I've heard in a long time today, that this legislation would not apply to them. But I just want to clarify, the reason it would not apply to them is because they had the means to, through insurance or through out-of-pocket, to pay for this themselves. And so if any of these women were poor, then this would apply to them. Is that right?
It applies to Medicaid coverage.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The bill is before you. The recommendation from the subcommittee was to report without amendment. Further discussion from the members? Hearing none, members record your vote.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
Please use the Delegate Hope.
Mr. Chairman, I would amend the motion to report and refer to appropriations. I don't think anyone could argue that this is not going to cost money.
Report and refer to appropriations. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Mr. Chair, point of order.
Yes, sir.
The gentleman said he was amending your measure. What's happened? So what's about to happen?
But you can't, that would not be a proper amendment to the motion, but a substitute motion would be proper. So I gave him some latitude that he didn't know about. No.
I apologize.
That's what he meant to say. I was clairvoyant over here again.
Mr. Chair, so,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair, I'm actually trying to be difficult, just trying to make sure I know what we're about to do. What are we about to do, sir?
The motion before the committee is a substitute motion to report and refer to appropriations. House Bill 62.
Mr. Chair, is that...
If the staff would change the board accordingly, destroy the current roll, and the board would now need to reflect that the motion we are acting on at this juncture on the electronic board is the motion to report and refer to appropriations, the substitute motion. Delegate Simmons.
I just want to speak to the motion, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Speaking to the motion to report and refer.
I mean, there's a lot of bills that we're down on this side of the aisle that we're the minority. We lose a lot of votes. Lots of times I understand the reason for it. But this, what we're deleting here is provision for a poor woman, in the exact language in the law, is that has a fetus with gross and totally incapacitating physical or mental deformities. And so this goes beyond, this is beyond the pale. This is profoundly disturbing to me. It takes my breath away that we would do this. And I just want to say that for the record.
Mr. Chairman. Delegate O'Bannon is next in the queue.
I move the pending question.
Pending question has been called. Pending question being on the motion to report and refer to appropriations, House Bill 62. Members record your vote on the motion.
Mr. Chair.
Parliamentary inquiry?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, so I'm just making sure everybody knows where we are. We have the current motion is to report and refer.
Pending motion before the committee.
Mr. Chair,
Re-refer.
if it were defeated, would we go back to the original motion since it's not?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that would be to simply report
Mr.
about
Chair.
the appropriations.
It would be to just report to the floor as the original motion from the committee. Yes.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
parliamentary inquiry.
Yes, sir.
And my understanding of a motion to report and refer versus a motion simply to refer means that a yes vote would be an endorsement of the policy and a referral to appropriations.
That is correct.
not correct? So if I oppose the underlying policy, while I agree that it probably should go to appropriations, because I agree with the cost argument, if I oppose the underlying policy, I should vote no.
I would not presume to tell the gentleman how to vote, but you would be correct that the motion is to report, meaning that we as a committee agree with the policy, or you as an individual on said committee, and then it needs to go upstairs only because you think it has potential fiscal impacts. That was the substitute motion that was made, and that is the matter before the committee. Are there further parliamentary inquiries? Hearing none, members record your vote on the electronic voting board on the motion to report and refer to appropriations. Anyone else care to vote? That motion fails 20-0. I will say parliamentarily, an individual who makes a motion is compelled by the rules of Robert Rules of Order and the person who seconds it to support the motion that you presented to the body. The purpose of that is to not have measures before a committee or a body that are frivolous, meaning nobody supports them. The original motion is now before the committee, that being the motion to report. All those in favor? Once the board is ready, record your vote on the motion to report House Bill 62. If all members voted who care to vote, the bill is reported 13-7. Something tells me we may have a time on the floor with this one as well.